Kimbra's here.
Hi.
Quickest intro to an interview ever.
To the point. I like
Exactly.
it.
We're going to get straight into it. I have to tell you a story. So
Yes.
I was coming down the freeway to do this chat, and I haven't listened to the Golden Echo in like a very long time, and so I was like, you know what, I'll just do this again. Forgot like how much I loved that album and how much I was like into it and listening to it all the time when it first came out. Anyway, got to track 3, got to Carolina, and it starts playing. And I go a little bit closer to the car in front of me, and the number plate was Carolina 1.
Are you kidding?
I am not even joking.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I'm not making this up for content purposes. This actually happened.
That's so rad.
And I was like, it's an omen that I have to be here with you.
Beautiful little signs that maybe you're intervening at the right moments in life, or life is intervening with you.
And I don't get those signs very often, so it was quite nice.
Really, really nice.
So, we have a new single.
We do.
This is very exciting.
Yeah.
It's been a fair while. I mean, let's
Yeah.
just like take it back. Let's look back at the past few years. I don't want to say you were quiet, because you have maintained this sort of like humble buzz about you, but also you've been working hard, you've been knuckled down. Where have you been? What have you been doing? Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, probably the biggest change has been that I moved to New York over this period. So the Golden Echo was made in Los Angeles, and I was living there for close to 2 years. I think I just needed a change. I did a couple of really important trips. I went to Ethiopia for the first time, which was just really, for me as a person, it was nothing to do with music, although I've been obsessed with Ethiopian music for many years. And I think after having that experience, I was like, I need to live in a city where I can feel this sort of, I don't know, confrontation with life and a bit more of a, I don't know, a groundedness in reality. And of course, New York is very much that, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
just a hub of stimulus, and yeah, an opportunity came up where I could move there, and in the process did a road trip across America. So I was having some amazing experiences and set myself up there with an amazing studio in my apartment, collected some analog synths and got a little spaceship going. Yeah, so a lot of this record was written out of this new experience of living in an amazingly inspiring city. Also did a lot of writing in Los Angeles as well. I tapped, into the writing for other artists for a little bit. I just did it for a little bit, but just to sort of try out what that would be like, to remove my own personal thing and just try doing some stuff that could be picked up by other people. So yeah, a lot of new experiences. I had some really great performances with Prince's band, The Revolution, and kind of key things that all started to inform this new world of music.
Right.
Yeah, so I think looking back, it feels like, it feels like it's been 5 or 6 years that have passed, but actually it's only been
Exactly. I think we just missed you
something.
here.
Thank you, that makes me feel so nice.
I gotta ask though, now that you've had experiences living in LA and also New York, do you have a favourite?
I do prefer New York. It just, for me, as a lifestyle. I think it's really simple things though. It's like, I'm someone that likes to have an idea and immediately execute it. Do you know what I mean? So sitting in the back of cars for, up to an hour just to get one chore done or one meeting done. It's just, it started to drain me a little, So I think there's something about the impulsive life of New York that getting things done quickly, and I just, it's a time of life thing. LA is a fantastic place to visit, and there's just so many wonderful friends I have there. But every album has kind of had a new city attached to it, and I'm quite enjoying that theme. Like where next?
Where do you reckon might be next?
I've got a sneaky feeling I'm going to spend some time in Tokyo soon. I just played 6 shows in Japan, and it was absolutely incredible. I fell in love with Japan. We'll see.
These shows you've been doing, I know you did a few in Japan, but also in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Not long ago. What kind of music are you playing there? Is it almost like a greatest hits thing? How much of the new record are you playing?
It's the opposite. It's like 80% new music.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, I feel a bit bad for people coming like ready to hear all the songs they know. Because I do a few songs off Vows and a couple of the Golden Echo, but they're like super warped, totally different versions. But I feel so lucky to have sort of, garnered this fan base of people that really love the evolution, and seem to enjoy these different versions. And it was a great chance to test out new material and see what was resonating, what was clicking. And it was a great response and a really good encouragement for this new era.
Speaking of this evolution, the first thing I noticed listening to the single is much more vocally present, especially at the start. The production obviously builds towards the end of it, but definitely your vocal strikes for at least the first half of it. Was that a conscious thing? Is that something we're going to hear on the rest of the record, or what's been the kind of sonic evolution for you heading into this new album?
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that, because I think that has been a pretty solid intention to bring that honesty out of the work and maybe share a kind of vulnerability that I've tapped into in my work in the past, but I've also been quite quick to layer everything and sort of a lot of imagination and surrealism. And I think, it's just about following your curiosity. And basically on the last record I was quite fascinated with maximalism and lots of texture and sound design.
There is a lot of
texture.
Yeah,
oh god, I know. And I think, it's just like I've done that. So this record I really wanted to try to access that place of deeper connect and, how emotional can you get with the listener by doing as little as possible and really trying to think of it like having a very one-on-one conversation with someone, eyes to eyes. I don't know, it's just where I'm at in my life as well, I'm 27 now. I think I don't know, this record has a sense of real, coming into some, I hate the word maturity because it's like so boring, but you know what I mean, like coming into oneself and maybe just feeling a little more courage to bring oneself out of the chaos and kind of reveal the core a little more, if that makes sense.
I find it interesting you say you're almost like coming into a new phase of your life at 27, because you're obviously here, like I'm 22, and I feel like my 21st year on the planet was a real sort of coming of age. But then you kind of get told the next one's like when you're 40 and you start to have your midlife crisis.
Oh, okay.
Is there like a phase in the sort of mid-20s that changes you again, do you think?
Yeah. I think we're changing all the time, to be honest, but there probably is, like, that crossover after 25 felt quite big for me for some reason, like just kind of being closer to 30 now and, feeling that you're more,
You're actually an adult now and you have to, like, do adult things?
Yeah. I really find it hard to sort of say when people say, you have a midlife crisis at this time, because I just really think it's so much to do with your circumstance as well. Like I left home at 17 years old, moved to Melbourne, 1-bedroom apartment, was making a record straight away. And so my growth as a person has been informed by these different things going on in my life. I've had to grow up a lot quicker in some ways, and other areas of my life I haven't had as much growth as others. Socially, for example, I didn't have university and all of that kind of connect with people from day one of high school, but I had different growth areas, So I just think that it is really different for everyone. And for me, this has felt like a big growth period from the Golden Echo to this new record, simply because of the experiences I've had. And maybe sort of acceptance is a big part of growing up, isn't it? Like I think when we're young, we're pretty desperate to take control of everything and we care very much about every meticulous little detail. And, I'm proud of the way I am as an artist, that I'm very invested in every part of my career. But there's something nice when you start to grow up and see things with a little more objectivity. And even in my friendships, it's like connection is such a deep part of what I want with people nowadays. And I think that starts to even show in the music, that I've proved that I'm a producer and can do a lot of, things musically, but these days I'm a little more interested in just, writing a song that really speaks to the heart and accessing that place of vulnerability where I think we're all very connected more than we think.
Absolutely. I think that's something like I've noticed in myself in the last year, and the connections I try and make with people is I want them to be almost primal. I want them to be almost, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, we are connecting on this level, we genuinely understand and believe and are listening to each other. And I think that's a really important thing, and I think, layering down the music a little bit maybe makes that easier to make that connection.
Yeah, so the title of my new record is Primal Heart. So maybe there's a little collective consciousness going on there. And I love that thought of, we're living in some pretty crazy times, and it's nice to see when artists are kind of jumping onto similar threads and looking to unite people in different ways. We need that right now. And I like when you start to see, a familiarity in the same threads, because it shows that people are starting to think together and see the importance in that exact idea of connecting at that level.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to really like this album. Tell me from this single to the rest of the album, what else can we expect in terms of what it sounds like?
It's a pretty heavy record in terms of, it feels like a physical album in the sense that when the bass drops, it's very hard-hitting. I've always been interested in big sound on my albums, but this one, I co-produced the record with John Congleton, who's most well known for his albums with St. Vincent. He produced all of those, and Goldfrapp and Blondie, but he also has a big kind of punk rock catalogue, which I think is a big part of my interest as well. So it's got a grit and a rawness to it, and yeah, a real focus on, like I was saying, that soulfulness of trying to access songs that speak to that depth, that primal heart, that core. Yeah, there's a lot of different genres still going on. I think there's a lot of references to the 80s. I had a big kind of resurgence of loving the 80s anthems, and I think that pops up along the way. And probably, you know, a really strong influence of R&B and hip hop, which has always been a big part of what I gravitate to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like listening back to 90s music, I was like, she likes a lot of different hip hop songs. There's a lot of like Alia, like TLC and stuff is always popping out in that song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's a hip hop gal.
That's right, yeah.
Really excited for this album. Go and get the brand new single right now from Kimbra. And as the songs from this album drop to the CMO Cool Accidents, thank you, Kimbra.
Thank you so much.